Me. All right, let's jump in. Rodrigo, welcome to the pod. Welcome to the channel.
Sure.
Yeah, a little bit of background. I guess we'll just introduce you and we'll jump in. Rodrigo started working with us. I think October of 2023.
Yep.
Um, what at like 18, 19, brand new to sales. Since then you've sold on multiple offers and you've done pretty well. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on, kind of talk about your story, and maybe the people can get some lessons out of this. You want to just like go ahead, bro, and like introduce yourself and what you got going on?
Yeah, bro. All good. So, name's Rodrigo, as you can imagine. 20 now. I started with Misha and the guys when I was 19. Now I'm 20. True. Sold on multiple offers at this point. Generated like for sure more than at this point more than half a million in cash collected, if not close to a million now. And yeah, it's been a longest journey. Started when I knew how to speak English, but it wasn't as good. I remember that. I was kind of struggling, and yeah, man, it's been a journey. It's been awesome. So
I think I remember you saying that on our first call, where like you
yeah,
asked the question like, "Yo, like my English isn't that good."
yeah, dude.
Uh,
I feel
Back
like you.
then, but like I guess like let's kind of start like then. I mean like when you first got into this, like I remember that. I remember you were like doing some e-com stuff too.
Yeah, I
You
was.
you want to just like talk about kind of where you were at and what kind of brought you to sales in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So I got started, as I said, when I was 19. I started doing e-com at around 18 years old before my birthday is in June. So January to like July of 2023, I was helping my cousin. She had an e-com store, and I was literally doing marketing for her, like on TikTok. And that was my first time having a commission-based role because I was making 25% of sales just for like directing traffic to the page.
Pretty good.
Um, yep, yep.
What were you doing? It was like TikTok marketing. Like what do you mean?
Literally TikTok marketing, bro. Because
Just like
I
doing
knew how
some
to do it.
posting content or like running ads or like what were
Yeah,
you?
I mean, organic, bro. Organic generated at like 15K USD in like 3 months, which like in Peru is like 60 grand.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, it was good. The thing is that back then I didn't go to college. Like that's a quick thing that I want to mention. I never went to college because I knew I didn't want to go. I knew I didn't want to have a job. I knew that I wanted to do something more with my life, and that's really what drew me to ecom and doing the whole marketing thing. Um, but obviously, after a while, I kind of got bored of it because things slowed down, and I was like, I really don't enjoy just recording videos and editing them and using a platform with people who
Right.
piss me off.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was at around July, August, and that's when I found you for the first time. Because I don't know if you remember, Misha, but back then you were working with Vince and Liam. Do you remember those guys?
Yep.
Yeah. So I followed them, and it's funny because I'm like I help on Instagram, and I start watching their stories, and I find a guy named Misha Perov, and every single story that I see is like 3K PIF, 3K payment plan, 5K PIF. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? What does he do? And that's why I find you. I hope on your profile I watched the YouTube video, the one about Zach. I think that was his name, and yeah, I was like, holy shit, this sounds like something I can do. This sounds like something that I can enjoy. This whole sales stuff.
Right.
Um, mhm.
Did you ever do any sales like growing up, like door to door or like anything like that at all, or was this like your literal first sales job ever?
Yeah, first sales job. I kind of did try to start an agency before the whole e-com stuff, and I kind of did sales. Like I
Okay.
did sell to I did get a client who left me like 2 weeks after because I didn't know what I was doing. So, so yeah,
Right.
but yeah, first sales just job for sure.
Yeah, I feel like because I have like a similar kind of come up, I guess, also in the sense that like, at like 18, 19, like I realized I didn't want to like end up working some bullshit job. So like, you always mess around with a little bit of e-com, I did like some reselling, different like fucking businesses. I remember for me, bro, like when I first got into sales, and I'm surprised that you say like you had no prior sales experience. I mean, I guess with some of the businesses, it's close to it. Did you have any like misconceptions about sales? Like, did you think like sales was like a certain way before you got into it, and then you found out it was something different?
I thought it was easy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, Yeah, bro. When I found out about you back in July, August, like I already knew about High Ticket. I knew what it was, but I didn't like went down the whole rabbit hole. And I thought
Right.
that it was like take 2 calls a day, make $1,000 in a single day for just talking to people on Zoom, and that's it, right? I
Hmm.
thought it was that simple. I thought it was like that because that's how it's usually sold.
Right.
Um, but
Did
then,
did I give off that impression from the
huh?
content from the stuff that you saw of me? Like, did I give off that impression that you just walk
Not
in?
not really, not really. That's actually what I liked, why I liked it, because it didn't
Hmm.
I didn't feel like I was like you were selling me some. I don't want to say dream because like that's literally what we do in our job, but I'm trying to say like it didn't sound like too idealized, like it was more raw. It was more true. What I
Right.
saw from you. That's what got my attention, actually.
Right. Okay. So I'm even like I didn't know because you said you did like um okay, well I guess with ecom like you were making like some money but like nothing substantial at all, right? 25% on 15K like even converted to your currency like it's not that much, right?
It's not really. It's not
Uh,
because that 15K was sales. Profit was probably like 8, 7.
right, right. And like you didn't even like it at that point. You weren't even excited by it. Okay, so I mean, I guess like let's kind of get into, because a lot of people get into sales. A lot of like young guys like they come in and like, I mean, I think the people who think it's easy and just gonna walk in and be a fucking cash register and collect payments and take commission, like those people are screwed anyways, right? But like even a lot of people understand that like it's hard, they're ready to grind, but it's very difficult for them to like kind of break through, get experience, land a role, start making good commissions.
Right.
um, I think it was like I was going through our chat. I think it was like 6 months from when you started training with zero experience to like actually landing a role.
Yep.
I guess like through the training, like what was that like, and like what do you feel like you needed to do in that few months there to prepare for a role?
Sure, bro. So yeah, so I found you in July, August. Then it wasn't until like October that I booked the call and obviously like bought, right? Um, and yeah, through like I remember back then that the whole thing about MC was like something about placement, something about like that, right? So it's like
Right.
okay, I'm gonna work my ass off so these guys can like help me with a job, right? That was my mentality. First month, not gonna lie, I was a lazy bitch. Didn't do anything. But starting from the second month, I was like, okay, I'm gonna lock in because I really want to make this work. Because I saw how like people were actually making a shit ton of money with this, right? So I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I'm gonna work my ass off. And back then with the training that I had with you guys, I was like, hop on the coaching calls, take notes, try to understand, hop on, do role plays every single day. I get better, read some books about sales, about self development, that stuff. Did that through November, December, even January, fully locked in. By February, I was kind of slowing a little bit because I was like, not gonna lie, bro, I was losing motivation back during like February. I was like, bro, it's been 4 months, haven't seen any result out of this other than like getting better. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
really closing deals. Um, and then I found one of the guys inside of MC. He had landed a role.
Well,
Uh,
real quick before we get into that, like what
sure.
what kept you going at that point? Because I think that's real, bro. And a lot of people don't talk about that. And like part of succeeding at anything is like delayed gratification and everything, right? I think a lot of people quit at that point, right? You're a few months in, you don't see any like real tangible results yet. Like what kept you going at that point?
It was like I'm already in my mind. It was like I've already worked too much on this shit to not like get a result. Like I gotta keep going. It's like I don't want to go through this same thing with something else. Like I'm already here. Like I just gotta
Hmm.
keep going. And like I knew that I could make it. I knew that even though the results didn't show it, like I knew that I was good enough to actually get something out of this. It was that inner self belief, I'll say.
Hmm.
Even though I felt like shit sometimes, like I knew that I was gonna be able to make it happen if I continued pushing.
Right.
Um, because I was thinking the people who have been in my position once, like before, the reason why they got results was because they kept pushing, right? And this is like a frame that I use in my sales calls nowadays. But anyhow, um, that was it, bro. That was it. Just kept pushing, and that's how one of the guys in MC. I knew he found a role. I reached out to him. He connected me, and I started working as a setter with a company until landing my first closing role like 3 weeks after that.
Was it with Renee? You were doing setting?
Yeah, no, with Renee was closing. That was 3 weeks after. The first company I
Okay.
worked for was like BNB Formula, and I got connected to them with this guy called Alex Miranda. I don't know if you remember him.
Yep.
Yeah,
We actually worked with them. After I think a few months later, we started working with them, helping them out with their sales. Um, but okay, cool. 3 months setting, and then you hopped on
Three
SM
weeks
Advanced.
setting, and then I then I
Sorry,
started
3 weeks.
closing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for Renee.
Okay. Cool. What was that like? Like going from like role playing to actually like being thrown in the fire onto calls. Like was it very similar to what you were training and role playing? Like was it completely fucking different? You had to learn a bunch of new things, or what was that like?
Um, I mean, it was kind of similar in the sense of I know like where I'm going with this, right? I know I know what I need to do. But it was super different because like real people, if you fuck up, they don't let you start again, right? If
Hmm.
you fuck up, you fucked up, and you're cooked, right?
Right.
So that was the biggest, and I think that's the thing that builds you up the most, like, because when you really fuck up, like on a real scenario, that's a lesson, and you learn.
Yeah.
You don't make the mistake again.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy because like I have like memories from like calls, like individual sales calls that I've taken from like 5, 6 years ago, where like I just fucked up bad, and I get some reaction from someone, and then it's like, yeah, exactly. Like that's when you really learn a lesson. Like when you embarrass yourself on some sales calls, you learn quickly, right?
Literally, man.
But okay, but because I remember Renee was doing a lot of hiring out of MC at that time, right? I think he
Yeah.
hired like almost like 10, 20 guys, um, and he's obviously good friends with Dylan. But I mean, what was like the interview process like? Like when you went through that. I mean, I guess because a lot of people, like landing their first role, like that's what a lot of people are caught up on. A lot of people get stuck there and they don't end up landing their first role and then they give up. Probably because they don't have experience, they don't have a lot of track record, a lot of resume, and then even the people who do land roles, and like you probably saw it firsthand, right? Like even the people that do land those roles, like probably 60, 70% of them don't end up lasting, right? There's a
Yep.
lot of turnover in sales, right? Like, I mean, I guess like what do you feel like you did to kind of separate yourself, stand out, perform, so that like you could actually go and like go from like landing your first role to actually going on and having a career for the last year and a half.
Right. Biggest thing was, dude, I don't even remember what I did on that. Oh, I remember what I did. The biggest thing is you gotta read the room, right? You gotta sell yourself, bro. Like an interview is literally like you gotta sell yourself. And on the interview with Renee, like I knew what they were looking for. They wanted, because I knew that there were people that they hired from MC before and they didn't last because they quit. Because
Hmm.
in my opinion, they were pussies. They were saying, "Oh, it's the leads. The leads are shit. They're broke. They don't buy." And you know how that is. So I was like, "This guys want somebody who's actually gonna work these leads. This guys want someone who's actually gonna put in the work." So I literally said that, bro. You give me a chance here, bro. I'm gonna dial all day long, like 100, 200 dials, 300 dials. I don't give a shit. Like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. And that's literally the sales manager who hired me. Like, like 2 months later, he told me the reason why we hired you is because you said that. Because like you said, I'm gonna work my ass off no matter what. So there you go. Like you gotta sell
Huge.
yourself. You gotta know what
Yeah.
they're looking for.
Huge.
Really.
I think, bro, it's crazy. So many people are so entitled, stepping into the game for the first time, like very little experience. And then like the problem is like the way that this is all like marketed. And I guess like maybe I'm even guilty of it too, right? Where you see like, people who see certain results and, whatever. But then it's like what ends up happening is like you have this mass of 20-year-olds who come in and who are like, yo, like I need the hottest leads, the warmest leads, blah blah blah, and like they're not willing to work, and the moment they have to go through like a rough stretch where they have to do hundreds of dials, deal with rejection, like everybody crumbles.
Yep.
I think that's important. How did you do, by the way? Like first few weeks, first few months closing, like were you performing? Was it slow?
First month closing, I was actually the top performer from the new batch of guys. Um, and funny thing for the people watching this, I am literally the only guy who got hired, who first of all English was not his first language, and who wasn't from either the U.S. or the U.K. Because as you know, I'm from Peru, and Spanish is my first language. So, I'd say, bro, it was about grit, and at that point, like literally. So I told you, I was defeated like 2 months before that. Like I had an opportunity, and I was gonna make it work no matter what.
Hmm.
And definitely the training that I got from you guys, like the skill, was what helped me stand out for sure. Because like I knew what I was doing as well. So
Hmm. Okay. Nice. Nice. So I know you ultimately, and like I guess before we kind of move on, what were you bringing in commissions wise, like first few months closing?
first, In March, I worked there for like 2 weeks. I made like $1,000. Like I was the only guy who made like five figures, so I felt like the shit in 2 weeks. Then second month, with this, because I was still working for the setting world on my second month, but then I quit. With that and closing, I made like 3 point something. Third month, it was like that was May. I made like 2.9, including bonuses. In June, I made 5 grand in commissions, first time ever. That was like, and when I hopped on my call with you back in October, I told you, bro, I want to make 5K out of this. Like that's my goal. First and foremost, I make 5K, I'm happy. Then I want to go to the moon. But 5K is the initial point. I made 5K in June, same month I turned 20, and I was like, I fucking made it.
Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So what? That was like what? I mean, from October to June, 1, 2, 3, 6, like 8, 9 months.
9 months, yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I mean, I guess what happened then? Because at that point, like you were closing full time. We started communicating a little bit less, right? Like what'd you do then?
Just continued fucking grinding, you know? Um, I
You stayed
was,
on Renee, or you
yeah,
started up on?
I started with Renee's from until October, right? So June I made 5K, July I made 6, August I made 7, something like that. September I slowed down, got back to 5, and I was like, you know what? Like, I appreciate the opportunity these guys got me, but I was closing tickets from like 500 to 1,200, maybe $3,000, and I feel like I want to close something bigger. But I feel
Mhm.
like my commission is kind of capped because I could be closing something bigger, and because I really just want to collect more cash, but I want to go to the big leagues. So I quit, like parted in good ways with those guys. We're still friends. Like literally, I went to Miami in February and hang out with them, so I'm still good with them. And I was at a point where I was like, okay, what do I do now? I got hired by a team, worst decision ever, and this is one of the mistakes that I committed that I'm never going to commit again. I started working with two companies that were brand new,
Okay.
fully brand new offers, no track record. And I was stupid because obviously I got sold by the hiring managers while working for those companies. October, I think I made like 3 grand, 4 grand. So my commission started going down.
And
November, I
this is
did
selling
three.
on two offers at the same time?
Yeah. So closing and setting for two different offers. Then November, I think I did like 3 or 4, and I'm like, something's wrong here. Like, I think I'm dumb for accepting these roles. So yeah, I December one of the offers literally stops because it didn't make sense for them to continue. So the offer shuts down. The other offer kind of stopped working for them because like I was tired of just like working for nothing. And I hop on a new offer, and I committed, and even though it was not a new company, I committed the mistake of not asking how well the company is performing.
Mm.
Because when I hopped on that new offer, turns out on the whole month of December, and I figured this out in January, on the whole month of December, they had only collected 30K cash across the whole team. When I found out about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna make money here.
Right. This is how many closers they had?
They had three,
Okay. And like you made that, but because you're doing like pretty decent, right? Like what, 4 or 5K a month on Renee, and then
five to
you can
seven
make.
actually, yeah,
Sorry.
5 to 7K on
Okay.
Renaissance.
Okay. Right. And then you make a decision. You're like, okay, cool. Like I want to level up. I want to sell higher ticket stuff, right? More sophisticated audiences, higher ticket packages, things like that. And then you end up selling on offers that were like at zero. How did that happen? Like how did you mess that up?
I was dumb. This was my mistake. Is I didn't. This is why mentorship is super important and having somebody guide you. Because I didn't reach out. I should have reached out to you guys probably back then, right? I didn't have somebody to ask. Is this worth it? Is this a good move? What do you think? Right? And
Mm-hmm.
I just hopped on those offers because I thought, okay, it kind of worked out. I'm gonna make it work out. But I didn't look at the numbers. And in sales, like the numbers are super important, bro.
Right.
Like the company numbers, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's where I fucked up, right? December, I get on this offer that was like 30K cash in the whole month. I end up getting fired in January, and that was the lowest point in my career up until now. Because in January, I didn't make any money. I think I told you I was offerless, but as you told me, I was actually unemployed.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was like shit. And I actually took that time to reflect. I'm like, I need help. Like I need proper guidance, right? And that's why in February, I hop on a new offer. I make like $1,000 in a day, just closing, right? I still got it. I felt okay. I still got it. I make $1,000 a day. Funny enough, the week after, those $1,000 get refunded because fulfillment was trash. But I still closed enough deals that month to buy a ticket to a mastermind in Miami in February. $1,000, a mastermind ticket, and I go there. And on that mastermind, I think is was one of the best investments I've ever made because I learned a shit ton of things about sales, but also made a lot of cool people. And out of those connections that I made, that's how I landed my role, the one that I'm on now.
Nice. The trading world, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Um, and yeah, bro. I mean, long story short, after that, March, I think I made like 6 grand commissions. Now we're in April. I'm already at. It's not even done, and I think I'm at like 7, 8K, something like that. So things are starting to go back up.
Nice. Looking back, would you have done anything differently? I think, I guess like before you answer, like I see that a lot, bro. I see that a lot, and like I feel like it's something that you kind of got to learn the hard way. But like you see, I think there's, you're definitely held back by the offer that you're on to a certain extent, right? Like there's only like so much commissions that you can earn, right? Obviously, you have an influence over what you can do and what you can make, but you're very rarely going to see like a 2, 3, 4x in your income on a single offer, right? And like sometimes, yeah, you do have to kind of step into something else when you're ready for that, right? And it seems like that was kind of your thinking, right? That's why you kind of moved away from Renee. But then I think a lot of people, bro, is they you know they make that move way too fast, right? Where it's like there's this thing of the grass is always greener on the other side, right? And in sales, in all sales industries, this is a thing where you see guys bouncing around from job to job to job, thinking that something else is going to be better, and then you end up learning a bunch of fucking lessons along the process where you're like, shit, I actually just got to take ownership over where I'm at, and. I mean, I guess like looking back, would you have done anything differently with that, or you feel like you needed to do that to be where you're at now?
I mean, not gonna lie, I wish I didn't have gone through that because I felt like I stopped a lot of the momentum that I had back then. But I mean, I learned the hard way, and now I know I'm not gonna commit that mistake ever again. So
Mm,
there's that.
cool, cool. So like, I mean, I guess like now, I mean, where should we take this? I mean, do you feel like there's any other like important lessons that you learned in the last what year of closing? Like any like pivotal kind of things, whether that's like on your sales calls that you implemented, whether that's like career stuff. Like was there anything that you feel like allowed you to kind of be where you're at now?
Yep. Two things that I actually learned from you. Funnily enough, bro. I learned this from you back in 2023. First thing is invest in yourself, right? I literally found you because you invested into a freaking coaching program. So like, there's a prime example of that, right? You never know what opportunities you can get because of investing in myself and on that mastermind and the people behind that mastermind. That's how I landed this role. Because of the people in that mastermind, that's why now I'm handling objections like a freaking G, right? Um, that's why my sales skills are now at this point where I know that if I go up on a good offer, I can make the money I want to make, as I'm doing now, right? Um, the second thing is, so that's one thing. Like you always gotta continue investing in yourself. Like people get complacent, right? Oh, I'm making this amount of money. Oh, I can just
Mm-hmm.
stop. Like I don't need more coaching. I don't need help. Like you always gonna need it to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I learned that, right? You taught me that, bro. Like I saw it from you. Like that's how I learned it. Um, and the second thing is another thing that you used to say is sales is like a sport. You got to treat it like a sport if you want to be good at it, right? Because there's people who are talented, and I've seen a lot of them, man. Like a lot of them. When I was with Renee, two of the guys, the best performers on that offer were people who literally didn't have barely any sales training or no sales training. They were literally talented. But what happened? They ended up slowing down because they got complacent. They started like taking days off, just going to freaking trips, just going on holiday, doing things like that. Which I mean, nothing wrong with it, right? You made your money, you enjoy your money, but at the end of the day, if you don't perform, like you start losing not only your the respect the company has for you, but also your money. So those
So what
people
does what does that have to do with sales being a sport, like not getting
that
complacent?
you gotta treat yourself like an athlete, bro. Right? You cannot miss a day of like a football player or soccer. I don't know how you call it in Canada. You
Yeah.
cannot miss a day of a practice, or you're gonna get slow, right? A basketball player, you cannot hit the gym or you're gonna be weak, right? And
Hmm.
when it gets physical, you're gonna get literally bullied. Like any sport, right? You gotta train day in day out. You gotta like be treat yourself as an athlete, like eat right, go to the gym, train your self skills for sure,
Hmm.
sleep your hours, and just show up day in and day out. Because if you don't show up, you don't make money and you don't get better. Like that's just how it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah, I think something that like I've always noticed because even like I'm sure you've probably felt it, and I definitely had where like I've had months where I've made an insane amount of money or more money than I've ever made before, right? Whether that was like early on in my career or like even now, and you always like, there's always that like thought to like kind of take your foot off the gas, right? To kind of
Yeah,
slow down and like coast, and you're like, okay, cool, this is my new standard, this is where I'm going to be at, and like everything is going to stay the same. But it's like thinking back to like when I hit my first like 10K month in commissions, like probably a few years ago now, like I thought that where it's like, okay, cool, I just hit 10K, great, so like this is just going to like happen every month now. This is just going to be my standard, I'm going to be around here and everything is going to be good. And then yeah, you lose that initial hunger of like how you got from like 3 to 10K, like that fucking grind and fire to like hit the number. You lose that, and then you think you're just gonna coast. But then like the lesson is like if you're not growing, you're dying, right? Like if you're not just like one, there's like getting better in the sales training and developing the skills. But I think like even more impactful than that is just like the mentality and the mindset of being locked in and focused every single day,
yep,
right? You lose that, yeah, that 10K all of a sudden turns into 2K, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? Now you're spiraling, and it's very hard to get that momentum going in the opposite direction. And I think it's just like daily routine, right? It's just like knowing like what are the things that I need to do on a daily basis. Where if I follow through on these things, like it's impossible for me to make less money, right? Do you have anything like that? Do you have like any like routines or like things that you do on a day to day basis that you kind of rely on?
for sure. One is training, like as I told you, now I'm training with some guys.
You're like role
Uh,
playing in the morning. Is it role playing? Is it like learning something or
coaching
like?
calls. I was helping role plays with some of the guys in the program that I'm on now. Um, that and also just in the morning, I always try to get a workout in. Whether that is kickboxing, Muay Thai, or just weights, whatever it is, hit the weight room. Just because it makes you feel like you've accomplished something, right? It gives you this sense of, I didn't want to go to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
those mornings where you're like fucking tired and you don't really want to go, but you do it anyways. And you feel like, okay, I did something hard today. I can hop on a fuck. I don't give a shit who gives me what objection, who treats me, who gives me whatever the fuck they give me in the sales call. Like, I already did something hard today. Like, I can do something hard. That's not gonna be hard, right? That is having breakfast for me, bro. If I don't have breakfast, like I don't have the energy to pull through the day. If
Right.
I especially if I have back to back calls like all afternoon,
Mhm.
right? Um, like for example, I did all of that on Friday, and I made 915 commissions like on a single day, right? Because I ticked all the boxes, showed up to my calls the way I should have, and closed 3 out of 3, 915 commissions,
Easy.
and probably gonna get another 250 on Monday because the guy did a split pay. So
Mm.
see,
Nice. Okay, good. Yeah, I think that's huge. And like it's fucking cliche, and like, yeah, like wake your ass up, stop being a bitch, hit the gym, do the things that like you're just supposed to do, right? But yeah, no, that stuff is huge. Okay, and like back to like bro, the because I'm with you. I think like I credit a lot of where I'm at today on lessons that I learned from other people, which I definitely would not have been able to learn from watching a YouTube video. A lot of like the connections and network that I've created. Like you gotta like, especially at a young age, like you wanna like move up the ladder fast. You wanna learn skills fast, make more money fast. You wanna build network and relationships with people who are at like a few levels ahead of you. Like you got to pay to play, right? Like there's really no way around that.
yep, that's how it is.
Um, but like it's crazy because I think like you and I like have that as a core belief. But like what's insane is that you see a lot of guys in high ticket who like their literal job is to convince other people to spend money on themselves, right? But like they don't spend money on their selves, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean, bro. I know what you
Why
mean.
do you think? Why do you think there's so much resistance around that?
Because they're gay. I'm just kidding. uh, I don't know. It's like I feel like it comes from a place of scarcity. I think so, right? Because the people who are not investing in themselves more often than not are the people who are not making a lot of money in sales. So like, I gotta protect my 3K month in commissions that I just made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't want to invest it because what happens if I don't make it back, right? Like they give themselves objections, and then they wonder why the fuck they get that on the call from their prospects.
Yeah.
But there's this thing about like they see it from a place of scarcity, and they don't have the congruency that is needed to actually go up the ladder, as you said. I think
What
that's the main thing.
do you think like is your like mindset and your approach around like investing into yourself now um, the same as it was like a year and a half ago when you first started? I mean, obviously not because like you're on the other end, right? But like,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like back when you first started, right, and like you're brand new to this whole space. I'm pretty sure you were a pretty easy close, right? If I remember, right? Like you were driven, you had a goal, you know, you were looking for a solution, you were ready to rock, right? I mean, I guess like what was your thinking then? Like how is it different now, if anything?
hmm so back then, I was actually scared as fuck about losing money, right? I mean, not saying that I'm not scared about losing money now, but back then I was seeing things from a place of scarcity, I'd say. Um, like even when I hopped on that call with you, bro, I had hopped on like two other sales calls before, or for two other programs, and I didn't
Okay.
buy. I don't think I ever told you that, but
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, I didn't buy it because like I genuinely didn't feel that alignment. And then I hopped on with you, and even though your program was more expensive than the ones I saw before, I saw like this shit. This is the real thing. Like I was already sold before I even hopped on a call. I'm not gonna lie, but still, right? Hopping on that call with you and the process that you took me through, I'm like, if this guy can make me feel this way, if guy can actually like sell this to me, then he can teach me how to do it, right? So
Yeah.
back then, that fear that I had, you kind of like helped me move through that. Like I'll be honest with you, right? But I was scared as fuck, bro. Even when I did it, like I was still scared, right? Um, but I guess if you, like, I mean, as you know, right, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you let fear hold you back, as you've done it, especially for the people who are just starting out, if you let fear hold you back, as you've done it for like the past couple of years, where has that led you so far to where
Mm-hmm.
you're at now, which is not where you want to be. So what happens if you continue acting the same way? Nothing changes, right? So what do you need to do in order to put yourself in the best position to actually get close to your goals? Push through the fear and not be a bitch. That's what you're
Boom.
gonna do.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, and like listen, like it's easy to kind of like look back on it and say like, yeah, you just got to do it, right? But like um in that moment, like especially starting out for the first time and like when you're, trying to do something like this or anything, you're trying to the reason why like you're hopping on calls with strangers on the internet is because like you're trying to make more money, right? Because you have like a money problem, you know?
Yep.
So it's like and like that's the problem is that you have to invest into yourself aggressively to fix that, right? But you have a problem, so I think a lot of people get caught there. But the thing is that people don't understand is like that scarcity mindset, like you mentioned, when people are at 3K a month. I mean, bro, like I see people who have a scarcity mindset at 10K 20K a month, where it's the exact same thing. They get their expenses up, they kind of hold on to their money, they hoard it, and I think a lot of it comes down to like goals too, and what you see yourself accomplishing. Like I think because a lot of just like achieving shit and hitting new milestones and new benchmarks and leveling up is like knowing with confidence that you're going to get there before you really start, right? And like when you have a certain goal and you're just dead set on it, and then you compare that to the investment that you have to make, like that investment becomes significantly easier the more confident you are in
hmm
yourself that you're going to do what you need to do to get to that goal, if that makes
Right.
sense,
hmm
right? But yeah, I think a lot of people, even at 10 20K, like they cap out, they're complacent, they're kind of satisfied with it, and I mean it's solid income, right? But um, yeah, you see that apply everywhere. um, yeah, and then the other thing too is like the when you do it and you win and you start seeing results, it just becomes like an addiction, right? Where it's like you just become so addicted to leveling up and getting better and learning new things,
Yeah.
where you just, I mean, that's what's called an upward spiral, right?
hmm Yeah, yeah. I've been through that myself. I think Giles told you about it. Uh,
Yeah,
Started buying shit left and right. But
yeah.
it got me here, and now I'm happier than ever, making more money than ever, more confident than ever. So it was worth it.
Hmm. So what's next for you, bro? Like, what are you kind of focusing on? What are you pouring your energy into?
Hmm.
You're about a year in, right? So just getting started. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you thinking about?
Just the main thing for me, and this is like knowledge that I'm getting from guys that are obviously higher up the ladder. Like I'm talking about, first thing is I'm expanding my network, right? Like talking with guys who like are making 50, 80, that range. Like people who are beyond sales, right? And now they're maybe managing teams, or they're maybe
Hmm.
managing their own offer, so, things like that. So that's one thing. Like trying to get more exposure to those people because like at the end of the day, connections are what help you move up. And there's that. Also becoming better at sales. That's why I'm still investing in myself, bro. Next month, I mean, dude, I'm already at 8,000 this month. We have like 4 days left, 3 days left, something like that. Like hitting that five-figure mark, like it's literally around the corner. Now that I have had the vehicle to do it, like it's literally around the corner. So there's that, and just continue improving, right? Get to a point where my skill set is so good that I can move up to maybe selling something more higher ticket, like 10K, 15K packages. Because right now I'm selling five, maybe 10K, 15K, 20K packages. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's the next milestone, right? And after that, we'll see.
Hell yeah, solid. So you haven't had a month at 10K yet?
Go again.
You haven't had a month at 10K yet?
Bro, no. I mean, I've been literally like edging it. Like I've been at seven,
Mm.
eight, one month. Like I was literally close to nine. But
Holy shit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's probably driving you crazy.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Well, it's good to hear. I mean, I guess we'll, kind of wrap up around here. I mean, is there anything else if you haven't shared already that, you would kind of share with anyone who's maybe at the start of their journey, maybe speaking to yourself back in like, you said it was from August to October that you were kind of thinking about making a move, right? Maybe anything you would say to like that version of yourself, just starting out.
Yeah. Like nothing is gonna change unless you make it change, right? Like I think I mentioned that already. Um, like this fear of making the right decision, it's literally what keeps people stuck from even starting something. And you probably get that on calls sometimes. Like there's people literally telling you that you know, like, this is the right decision. But you've been thinking that for months. Like for me, I say it was from August to October, but in reality, I've been thinking about the whole thing of investing in myself, starting my journey since like I was 19 then. I was probably thinking about that since I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
So like people, if you continue just in that loop, like you're just gonna get to the same result, right? And I'm saying this from a place of like caring for people. Um, like you are only letting yourself down and not doing a disservice to yourself if you continue doing that to yourself, right? Um, and most importantly is like if somebody has done it before, there's literally no way that you cannot do it happen. You cannot make it happen yourself. And once again, bro, I mean, if anybody's watching this, because seeing from a guy that was 18, right, that was Sham. I think he was 18, 19. He was making 10K a month with you guys. That's what pushed me. Like, if that guy can do it, why can't I? But then in my case, I'm now 20. English is not my first language. I was literally born and raised and still live in a third world country, and I still made it work. And I have a career in this. I outperform people on the daily who's literally English is their first language, who have better conditions than me. But I still made it work. I still made it happen because I knew I could. So if I can make it happen, why can't you? Whoever that is, whoever's watching this, like literally that man. If somebody can do it, why can't you? That's the
Hell
thing.
yeah. Yeah. That's deep, man. Indecision, right? Like that's the worst thing. Like just letting time fucking pass where nothing happens, where like you're playing with an idea, mentally masturbating to something, but then nothing fucking changes. You
Yeah.
know, it's like you have the voice in your head saying to go do something, and then you just suppress it out of fear. You know,
Hmm.
crazy. You got to move past that stuff. But cool, bro. Solid. Appreciate you hopping on, bro. I know you're like in the middle of fucking sales calls, working 7 days a week now. So I appreciate you taking the time. I think. A lot of people can get a lot of lessons out of this, and hopefully someone gets value from it. Um, yeah, let's wrap it up right there, bro. Any
So,
closing thoughts or words before we wrap up?
no, I mean, even though I don't necessarily like for you, right, bro? I think I told you this before. Like, even though I don't necessarily work with you guys anymore, like at least as much as I used to before, and I don't get the coaching and nothing like that. Still, like, I got here because I started with you, right? Like, I'm always gonna be grateful because once again, even though I don't even apply the stuff that you guys taught me anymore, like you guys were, if you weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So forever grateful, man. That's what I like to tell you.
Hell yeah, appreciate you saying that, man. Cool. Well, anyways, guys, like, subscribe, peace.